Today, we recognize Kratos as a tired, solemn father trying to survive the harsh winters of the Norse woods. But to understand how he got there, we have to look back at the sheer, unadulterated violence of his origins. Back in 2005, director David Jaffe had a very specific mandate for the original game. He wanted an experience built entirely around letting the player's inner beast free. The goal was to make you feel like a brutal, unstoppable warrior. The developers achieving a tightly paced 9 to 13-hour gameplay loop. They built macro and micro combat systems that rewarded players for discovering unique attack combos and executing visceral finishing moves. In this era, the combat mechanics came first, and the narrative was entirely secondary. This poses a serious problem for writers. How do you build a compelling, multi-game story around a protagonist whose only mechanical purpose is relentless, unapologetic slaughter? Their solution was to take the greatest hits of Greek mythology and weaponize them. They transformed a classic pantheon of gods into a disposable, apocalyptic playground built specifically for the player to destroy. To justify the carnage, the writers grounded Kratos in ancient Greece. He begins as a fiercely loyal Spartan captain, a man willing to secure victory for his troops at absolutely any cost. Facing certain death on the battlefield, he makes a desperate pact with Ares, the god of war. Ares grants him power, but tricks the Spartan into a bloodlust so deep that Kratos inadvertently murders his own wife and child. As a punishment, a surviving village oracle curses Kratos. She magically coats his skin in the white ashes of his dead family, earning him the permanent moniker, the Ghost of Sparta. This trauma served a highly specific mechanical purpose. It turned Kratos into a ticking time bomb. He required endless, brutal violence simply to drown out his own waking nightmares. The narrative satisfies a player's need for action by pointing Kratos at the ultimate target. By the end of the first game, he achieves the absolute peak of violence. He kills Ares and usurps the throne as the new god of war. But acquiring godhood does not cure his rage, nor does it stop the player's mechanical need for combat. It merely provides Kratos with a much larger, far more dangerous target list. The scope of the violence now moves from the mortal realm up to the untouchable domain of Mount Olympus. Here we meet Zeus. He holds ultimate authority over the Greek world, but he watches Kratos' ascension with growing fear and paranoia. To understand why, we have to look at the deep lore of the Titanomachy. In his youth, Zeus seized control of the cosmos by violently overthrowing his own father, Kronos. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Terrified the cycle of patricide will repeat itself, Zeus preemptively betrays Kratos to protect his throne. But Kratos escapes the underworld and learns a crucial secret. He is Zeus's son, cementing his ultimate motivation to wage a cosmic rebellion. Because the game design demanded constant escalation to keep players engaged, the narrative responds in kind. The story pits Kratos against the entirety of Olympus. In their desperate attempts to break a generational curse, the Olympians inadvertently forged the exact weapon that would guarantee their total apocalyptic downfall. What follows is a chaotic, multi-front invasion of Mount Olympus. Kratos turns on everyone, slaughtering gods and titans alike as he climbs the peak. These executions have immediate environmental consequences. Snapping Poseidon's neck causes the oceans to rise, catastrophically flooding the entire Greek world. Ripping off the head of Helios, the sun god, blots out the sky, plunging the surviving earth into eternal darkness and violent storms. Severing the legs of Hermes unleashes a virulent plague of insects upon whoever manages to survive the floods and the dark. There is a massive dissonance here, as the player sits on the couch enjoying a power fantasy and stringing together 100-hit combos. Kratos is effectively destroying the earth. This pantheon-wide genocide is the inevitable ludonarrative endpoint of a game built entirely around the mandate to let the player's inner beast free. The climax arrives when Kratos beats his father Zeus to death with his bare hands. He leaves the Greek world in absolute, unsalvageable ruin. The spirit of Athena intervenes, demanding Kratos surrender the power of hope. Instead, in a final act of defiance, he impales himself. He releases hope back to humanity, ensuring the rule of gods is over forever. Behind the scenes, this transition mirrored a shift in directing philosophy. The series was moving away from David Jaffe's era of visceral, unapologetic gore and toward Cory Barlog's darker, more character-driven narrative. For the franchise to mature beyond a one-dimensional rage simulator, the original trilogy had to end in total destruction. The slate had to be wiped completely clean. The original games were an exercise in apocalyptic catharsis. Kratos had to literally and figuratively slaughter his past so that both he and the franchise could finally